Good morning. This is Jacob Bolton, Associate Pastor of Christian Formation here at Westminster Presbyterian Church in Alexandria, Virginia. As we are now entering another month of our COVID-19 pandemic, I've been thinking about the numerous people I know who've either gotten sick or have died from the virus. People that I've personally known for decades, who've been either close friends or colleagues, have died, leaving, at least in my mind, the world a much different place. Unfortunately, I know that I am not alone in this. And though the zeitgeist around the virus is less fearful now than it was back in February and March, it's really all the more confusing, disorienting, and shameful today. A big part of why those feelings have permeated the culture is because holding funerals has been such a challenge. It's been so hard to say goodbye. But I do not personally want any one person who's died not to have the chance to be remembered, honored, or sent into eternal light with love. And so in light and love, one of the people that died from COVID complications just within the past couple of weeks is one of my musical heroes, Jamaican reggae artist Toots Hibbert, singer and co-founder of the band Toots and the Maytals. Frederick Nathaniel Toots Hibbert was born back in 1942 in rural May Pen Clarendon, just about 45 minutes west of Jamaica's capital, Kingston. Hibbert's parents were both ministers, preachers, and he was raised singing gospel in what he called a salvation church. The hand clapping, foot stomping, soul-shaking vocals associated with Jamaica's Afro-Christian religious traditions. Revival Zion, Pacomania are essential whenever you see one of Toots Hibbert's performances. Hibbert also cites Elvis Presley, Malia Jackson, soul superstars James Brown, Wilson Pickett, and Otis Redding as influences. In his early teens, Toots moved to Trenchtown, an economically poor and yet musically thriving community in western Kingston, also home to future reggae artists including Peter Tosh, Bunny Wailer, and Bob Marley, who of course became the Wailers. Writing, practicing, growing, and recording in that vibrant atmosphere allowed Toots to gain some early success in Jamaica and the United Kingdom with songs like Bam Bam and the infamous 5446, What's My Number? But it wasn't until Pressure Drop was released in 1972 that Toots Hibbert's made the mainstream invasion into American musical radio. Chris Blackwell, Toots' longtime producer, said this back in 2011. Toots was the writer, singer, songwriter. You never saw anybody else on that stage because Toots was just so charismatic. The Maytals were unlike anything else. Sensational, raw, dynamic. There were many occasions you hear a record by someone, then you go and see him 10 years later, and it's just a little bit of a disappointment. But Toots, in his late 60s, gives everything to his audience and never phones it in. At age 77, Toots had just released his latest album only 2 days before he entered the hospital feeling sick in Kingston, a hospital stay from which he would never leave. Now, if you're a fan of Toots and the Maytals already, good for you. But if not, I can't encourage you strongly enough to take a minute and listen to this unique blend of reggae, soul, R&B, and gospel. Legend has it that Toots Hibbert is the man who invented the word reggae, naming the unique music germinating in and flourishing from those Kingston streets. Toots Hibbert, What a loss to the world. And so, saints of Westminster, let's take a moment. Let's take a moment to pause today and reflect on the ones that you have lost during this terrible season in our lives. Maybe it's folks you personally know. Perhaps it's not. Maybe an acquaintance or someone that you know much less intimately. Perhaps it's one of your heroes, someone whose music you've listened to, sang along to, danced to, even done your best to play yourself because of the joy it brought you and because of the joy that it brought to the world. May we remember all of them and never forget that joy. Much love. Hold fast.